I'm looking at the comments that have been left already on the piece I did about Lee Anderson and Steve Bray, and I want to what strikes me most is the way Anderson walked away without a care in the world, and the police gathered around Steve Bray. In May 2016, under the leadership of President Erdogan, Turkey's parliament approved a constitutional amendment to lift immunity from prosecution for its members. And this move was perceived as targeting opposition parties, particularly the pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party, whose members faced allegations of supporting terrorism. Now, the HDP criticised the amendment, claiming that it was aimed at suppressing political dissent and that it intended to marginalise Kurdish representation. The main opposition party, the Republican People's Party, also expressed concerns about that the amendment could erode parliamentary independence and democratic principles. Despite these objections, the amendment passed with a significant majority, allowing for the prosecution of numerous MPs, predominantly from opposition parties, but it doesn't seem to have actually come into practical effect. It should mark a pivot where the immunity of the parliamentary members is not automatic. As I say, I don't think it's come into serious effect. And why am I bringing this up? A, because I'm in Turkey at the moment, and B, because looking at Lee Anderson, he walks around as if he has immunity, and the police treat him as if he's got immunity. And it's not as if this spat with Steve Bray is the first instant. I played another instant on the YouTube a few minutes ago, and so Anderson has form, and what constitutes assault is quite vague. Under the 1988 Criminal Justice Act, common assault is about whether or not somebody inflicts violence on another person, however slight this may be, or makes the person think they're about to be attacked. And the assailant doesn't need to be physically violent. For example, threatening words or raised fist could lead a victim to believe they're going to be attacked. In this case, flicking the hat, particularly as it seems to be in a premeditated moment by Lee Anderson, I think I think could well be an instance of something close to assault, and where I what I'm not sure about is whether Steve Bray's response, which was to push back, is justified. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. There are of course exceptions to the to assault, as for example in medical interventions, in self-defense, and that's where Steve Bray may find an answer, or where you might be involved in a contact sport like rugby. But I think it is extraordinary that Lee Anderson was not surrounded by the police as well, and that and that so as Jimbo says, Andertor stepped over the line. That hat flick was only inches away from being a punch on the nose. And there's been various people saying that Steve Bray was a drunk with a silly hat. That simply isn't true, is it? And Christopher Edwards says, tipping a hat is not any form of assault. The hat doesn't count. Well, I disagree. If you look at the 1988 law, the hat would attacking the hat like that, or tipping the hat like that, flicking the hat like that, probably would be an issue of contention. And Mickey G says, Steve Bray should have national treasure status. He's done a fantastic job keeping the Brexit disaster live. From Westminster, every word he said to that moron was true. The man with no name, I do find anonymity so tiresome. Biggest bore in London, absolute melt. Well, there we are. Eileen Corcoran says, yes, he's a bully. Absolutely. And 30p is a grifter. The trials and tribulations of Lee Andertor. But thank you very much for all the comments. They've occurred thick and fast. Neanderthal is clearly some sort of clickbait. But I was dismayed. I was shocked by his behaviour.